In a world full of boring marketing misfits, get ready for the ride of your life with Dean Holland in The Drive.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of The Drive. Dean Holland here with you again on this gloomy morning here in the UK. So, as always, I'm on the way to the office. You could never have guessed. I'm pumped up for today. We've got a lot going on in the office. We've actually got one of my good friends, Craig, in the office with us at the minute, and he's actually gearing up for a product launch of an amazing software that he's created. So probably, if I can get his time for a few minutes one day later this week, I don't know though, because it's going to be mega busy for him. I'll see if I can persuade him to do a Drive episode with me, a special product launch insight Drive. So cross your fingers for that, because I'm sure it's going to be an epic week for him. So back on with us. Obviously yesterday I gave you a full rundown of kind of the main priorities of the week, which is ultimately working on this funnel. What I didn't really talk about is kind of all the day-to-day stuff that always has to happen as well. You know, one of the things that I always talk to our clients about ultimately is you're going to find there's a few different categories of things that you have to do in your business. I'm just stopped at the train line, by the way, so I can actually look at you. Hey. There's going to be essential things and non-essential things, essentially. So many essentials in your business. But the thing is, you know, some people would tell you to only focus your time on the profit-producing tasks, which to a degree I can totally understand. But the thing is, the reality is, there's still other things that you might have to do. But it comes down to the 80-20 principle. Is it Pareto's principle? Something like that. And that's how you should be looking at it. You know, 80% of your time needs to be spent on the things that produce the actual results, you know, and the 20% can just get spent on the other things that kind of has to happen to keep everything sustained. You know, an example of this might be, let's say if you have started a blog, just pure example, and you find out there's some technical stuff wrong with your blog, so some of your pages aren't working. Well, yes, that has to be fixed, but is fixing that page on your blog that something's wrong with it, or the logo's not quite aligned properly, or this other thing that kind of bugs you and you know really needs to be sorted because you'd like to have it right, but is that going to actually generate you leads? Is that going to actually make you sales, generate you customers, generate revenue in your business? Doubtful, right? Unless your entire business revolves around having a perfect blog, which I think that's 0% of the world. But instead, let's say one of your other tasks was to actually be setting up or completing the setup of a squeeze page and a thank you page so that you can actually drive traffic to that and build a list. Well, that is going to actually produce your results, because if you can get targeted prospects or leads onto your email list and effectively follow up with them, that's going to generate you customers and revenue in your business. Therefore, that would be a priority task, right? Same with if you've got an email list, you should be mailing your email list every day. That is a profitable task that's going to actually put money in your pocket. So do you spend half an hour going through your Facebook updates, or do you spend half an hour drafting an email and sending that email out to your subscribers that have already opted into your email list? They're wanting to hear from you. You know, on that subject, just to go off on a random email list tangent, it is shocking the number of people, and I say shocking, but I used to be the same, is the truth, that start building an email list but don't communicate with them. You know, you've got to think, when somebody opts into your list, they're not opting into a squeeze page that says, hey, enter your email address on this page, I'll send you this thing, but then I'll never contact you again. No, they're opting into your list because they're interested in that thing. And then if you can continue to demonstrate value to them, you know, you're going to turn these people into loyal, trusted fans and followers. So if you have an email list, make sure you're mailing them every single day. That is a priority task. And so for us, for example, obviously, in my main company, Internet Profits, I've got staff, you know, I've got team members, you know, so for me it's a little bit different than perhaps if you are a business of one right now, or maybe you've just got, maybe you've got somebody that you, an outsourcer that probably manages your emails or something like that. I don't know where you're at right now, but if I look at the different stages, you know, one of the things that, going back many, many years, when I was a business of just one, meaning I was the only person, all the tasks, 100% of the tasks were my responsibility. So it was even more important then that I categorized and prioritized everything I was doing, because there are seemingly 1,000,001 things to do, but I was the only one doing them. Now, for example, I've got a team and things are systemized so that, you know, I think I mentioned in a previous Drive episode, you'll have to watch them back if you missed that, but I spoke about the system of how we get this content that I'm doing, like the Drive videos as one thing, and how we publish that online and repurpose that in multiple different ways. But I have a system, you know, so my only priority every day is to get in the car, drive to the office and hit record and talk to myself. Then the other tasks are someone else's responsibility, or multiple people's responsibility, as the case may be. So just something for you to be thinking about, because the most precious thing that you actually have, not just in your business, but in your life, is your time. You know, there are only 24 hours in a day. You know, let's say 7 or 8 of those are spent sleeping. And let's say probably 1 or 2 of those are spent eating or preparing your food. So that's then 10 hours. Now let's say that obviously you've got a few other hours in the day that are taken up with other things. 2-3 hours. You know, that's 13. That leaves you 10 or 11 hours left. You know, what are you going to do in that time to move your business forwards? You know, how is that time being spent? You know, and if you are doing this effectively, you won't need to spend 10 hours a day at the computer, you know, because you're not actually going to be 100% productive in that time. But it's about doing whatever you've got to do. You know, I could take you back to, gosh, times like 2008, 2009, when I first quit my job, 2010, when my business really first took off. I was spending, for a period of time, there were times when I did 24, 36, there was once I did 3 days straight with no sleep, because I was working on a product and a product launch. Much of the time I forgot to even eat because I was that engrossed, because I was doing what I had to do. But knowing what I know now, that was done out of inexperience. Knowing what I know now, I understand that if I plan my time and plan what I need to accomplish in that time, because I've prioritized the things that need to get done into priority 80%, you know, focus, profit producing, results producing, sales producing tasks, and then just a small piece of my time spent on the other bits that if I didn't get done wouldn't really matter, then I know that I wouldn't need to actually spend that much time actually working on all these things. So we just pulled into the car parking space and somebody's in the space, so I'm gonna have to park across everything. Oh well. So yeah, so that I guess is the message of today. Prioritizing your tasks, prioritizing your time, and making sure the things you 100% are getting done is the things that are actually producing sales and results in your business. If you're doing that, you're always going to be moving forwards. And eventually, as your business grows, all those other menial tasks that you're having to get done with 20% of your time, you can actually bring on outsourcers or eventually employ staff members if you want to, and actually relieve yourself 100% of those things so you're not even having to think of them, they're already being done. So with that said, my time is up. I've got other priorities to focus on, so in the office we go. I'll see you back in another episode tomorrow.